This is a big box, and what's inside is one of the biggest and brightest OLED TVs of the year, the LG 77-inch G3 OLED TV with its MLA technology, micro lens array. And we have to compare it with the other TVs to see just how well it compares and just how bright it is. But before we can do any of that, we have to unbox and set it up. So stick around. Perfect. Hey guys, it's the Villaman here, home theater enthusiast and lover of all things tech. And this TV is going to be very exciting to test out because this is one of the largest TVs I've unboxed in a very long time. And of course, shout out to the folks over at Value Electronics, which is where I got this TV. And if you're interested in buying one of these TVs or learning more about it, then I've included links in the description. But yeah, let's see what's inside. First, we have the familiar LG Magic Remote and the included batteries, IR extension cables, and of course, product documentation as well as warranty information. Pretty standard. Then because this is the G3 and not something like the C3, then we have the wall mount bracket kit, which comes included in the box because this TV is meant for wall mounting. But if you want to stand mount it, there's also a stand available, which we'll get into as well. Now we have these clips on the side that we will use to open the box up. So there are 3 on each side. And the box just falls down. This will make getting the box out of the TV a lot easier, especially for folks that don't have the tallest of ceilings, so you don't have to lift it off the box, you can just let it fall off. So then we can put it back together and make it into a flat surface so we can put the final TV stand on the TV. I'll tell you one thing, this is a lot more involved than a 65-inch TV. And now all we have to do is a 2-man lift from here to the TV. And with the magic of YouTube, I can just do this. See? Magic. Now let's spin this around a little bit so we can install that stand. And there's a bag that the TV is in. I guess we'll just have to slide it off or slide out. Yeah, that's much easier. As far as the stand is concerned, there are a couple options. So there's the third-party option from somewhere like Sanos. They sell a stand which you can get from Value Electronics as well. But you can also buy the first-party stand from LG. And if the 2023 version of the stand isn't available, fun fact, the 2022 version will work as well. Depending on availability for you, this is how it looks. It comes in the box fully assembled. You just have to put the screw in, just buy it fully assembled and install it. Power cable goes through here. Slide it into the groove like so. And that's it. Then there are 4 screw holes that you need to secure and your TV will be good to go. So let's do that. All right, let's get this plastic off. Smooth. You know, I think we've really gotten to an inflection point as far as OLED TVs are concerned, because of course they have their advantage of perfect contrast because they can turn on and off each individual pixel on screen as necessary, but they're also getting to the brightness of those LED backlit LCD TVs, at least the higher end OLED TVs. So TVs like the G3 that we have here, and the Samsung S95C and the Sony A95L are all approaching a really high level of brightness, and the G3 can thank the LG's MLA architecture for that, where they implement some micro lens arrays to essentially reflect the light that was wasted back at the viewer, so more light comes to your eyes. That in turn increases the brightness output of the TVs like we're seeing here with LG's G3. Now this MLA isn't implemented in all of their OLEDs, but the G3 has the MLA on the Evo panel as well as a built-in heatsink, so it can maintain those high peak brightness output longer. And it's really something to see how far these TVs have come. Now we'll talk about picture a little later in the video. Let's talk about some design, because as far as the design is concerned, the G3 doesn't change a thing from last year's G2. So if you have a G2 and a G3 side by side, then you cannot tell the difference. In fact, the stand that I used for the G3, because it comes with a wall mount, the no gap wall mount. The stand that I use to mount mine on my TV stand is actually the G2 stand from last year, because at the time of purchasing this TV, the G3 stand just wasn't in stock anywhere. But you know, lo and behold, the G2 version works perfectly well, because after all, they are, at least on the outside, exactly alike. So pro tip for anyone who wants to stand mount their G3, just buy whichever stand is available and cheaper. Now compared to the G2, as far as picture quality is concerned, the G3 is substantially brighter. Now here in my comparison, we can see that the TVs have a pretty similar output as far as the video is concerned, but what you can't see from the video is that the exposure of the camera for the G3 is actually lower than it is for the G2. So the G3 is so much brighter than the G2 that we had to decrease the sensitivity of the camera so that they have a similar brightness output for this video. Otherwise, the G3 would have been overblown and all the highlight details would be lost for the video, although they are there in person. Color performance of the G2 to the G3 is pretty much exactly alike. The only difference really is the level of brightness and the perceived contrast as a result, as well as that OLED pop. Because of the higher peak brightness of the G3, then things like micro contrast and the overall pop of the picture is just that more pronounced, because the brighter elements are substantially brighter while the darker elements still remain pitch black when they should be. It's a pretty striking picture, and it's very similar to how Samsung's S95B was when it initially launched, before they released a firmware update that kinda crippled the brightness somewhat. When comparing the G3 to Samsung's S95B QD-OLED from last year, we can see that the S95B is noticeably not as bright as the G3 is. But as far as overall picture quality is concerned, the S95B has more vibrant and saturated colors, at least the primary colors, than the G3 does. And that's typical of Samsung's quantum dot TVs, and their QD-OLEDs, of course, are no exception. We've seen that on their QLED LED backlit LCD TVs, especially when comparing them to OLED TVs like I have in the past. That said, Samsung's 2022 QD-OLED TVs only go up to a 65-inch screen size. You can't get a larger screen size, 77-inch, until you go to the 2023 models. And I think the 77-inch S90C is a bigger version of the S95B from last year, as far as performance is concerned. But we'll see that for sure once we test that TV. And it's also worth noting that even though the MLA technology has had such a big impact on the 2023 WRGB OLEDs from LG, the 83-inch G3 does not have that technology, and it instead relies on just the Evo panel, so it won't get quite as bright as the smaller versions like the 77-inch and lower, which have the MLA technology. And that's my first impression, as well as the quick comparison with other lower cost high performance TVs from previous years. Now, I'll be comparing the G3 to other TVs, and I think the C2 is a perfect comparison to make with the G3, just to see how much more performance you get for the additional cost of going for the G3. And of course, as soon as I get my hands on that A95L from Sony, the QD-OLED, I want to do that comparison as well, and all the cross comparisons that are necessary for those. I have a lot of videos to make. So don't forget to subscribe and come back for those, because I am sure those will be very interesting and will be very informative in deciding which TV is the best for you to buy. Another shout out to the fine folks over at Value Electronics, where I got the G3, and don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't, because there are a lot more TV videos to come. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been your friendly neighborhood Villa Man saying be safe and peace.